Morning. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. Dan Kasper Show is on the air. Radio dials, two of those, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also online, sportstalk1051.com. You can stream it there or check out the video, live stream video link. Get your Google and Alexa home devices, the Sports Talk app. Bunch of different ways for you to be joining in. Shoe Doctors bullpen line, always active. Hit us up with some texts over there, 715-830-19 1, 2. Happy Grind My Gears Tuesday. If you're a regular, you know it. If you're a first-time listener, well, today's your day that you can hit us up with whatever's grinding your gears. Get it off your chest. Text it on over. Tweet it. Facebook it. Comment on the video stream. Whatever makes you feel better. What's grinding your gears here today? All right. Hit us up over there. What else do we got on the menu here this morning? Brewers, after their off day, they'll be back at it today, starting a 2-game series tonight with the Tampa Bay Rays. We're going to see Brandon Woodruff back on the mound for the Brew Crew. First pitch slated to start at 6:10 tonight. Coverage will begin about 35 minutes beforehand on the two radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Take a look at this quick 2-game series against the Tampa Bay Rays before Brewers begin their stretch against some division opponents, Pittsburgh, Cubbies, Pittsburgh again. We'll take a look at Rays coming off of a nice sweep against the Pirates. Brewers coming off their series win against the Blue Jays. Brewers now just holding on to a half-game lead over the Cardinals. Rays trying to, they might be looking, okay, this division with the Yankees might be a little bit out of reach at this point. So they're probably thinking, all right, we gotta keep pace for a wild card spot right now. And the Yankees, 54-20, holding a 12-game lead over Boston, 12.5 lead over Toronto, 13 over Tampa Bay. So, yeah, probably just holding on to a wild card spot right now, they're probably thinking, right? But, because if you're looking at it, right now, Tampa Bay does have one of the final wild card spots, it looks like. Yeah. Oof, man. But we'll take a look at this. I want some predictions from you, some serious predictions. From Brewers.com, it still has Tampa Bay as a TBD for who the starters are going to be for this series. So maybe a little bit of an unknown there. But we do know it's going to be Woody tonight and then Eric Lauer tomorrow morning. Yeah, that's right. Tomorrow morning, that game's going to start at 11:10. 11:10. So early getaway day for the Brew Crew. So we'll talk some baseball. We'll hit that up. We are officially under now a month away from the start of Packers training camp. We are under a month away. It's going to be here before you know it. So a lot of tension, talk, I should say, surrounding the offseason has been wide receivers, right? I mean, if you're into fantasy football, or if you're kind of looking at some of the rankings and where players are going in drafts and that sort of thing, and with fantasy football, I mean, you're seeing Aaron Rodgers not being a highly picked person because, well, there's no Devonta Adams, so numbers got to go down. If you're looking at all these other folks out there coming up with their rankings and quarterback rankings, Aaron might be a little bit down because, well, who's he going to throw the ball to? Yeah, it's kind of, all over the place here. So everybody's been talking about wide receivers. Get it. Cool. Awesome. That's probably the number one storyline training camp and preseason is how are the receivers going to look? What's that group going to look like? What's that offense going to look like? Passing game, et cetera, et cetera. But there's three other areas, position groups, questions that I kind of want to pay attention to in training camp this year. So I'll throw it back out to you peeps out there. Take away the receivers. What's the one area? If you had to pick just one, okay, just pick one. But what is the one other area besides wide receivers that you'll be kind of paying attention to? My three. See, I picked three, but I'm asking you to just do one. But I had three. It was offensive line depth because, I mean, that is such a big unknown at this point, especially when you put in the unknown with Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins. Then it's like, okay, so who's going to be the starting left tackle then if Bakhtiari isn't ready to go? Which if he's not ready to go, I mean, then you got to really wonder about his future. But okay, he's ready to go, but not Elton Jenkins. So how does that play out? And then if Elton Jenkins is ready to go, do you put him at right tackle? Do you keep putting him back at left guard? A little bit of a mumble jumble there, right? So that's number one for me is just the offensive line depth and how everything would shake out if everybody's healthy, cleared to go right away. What does that look like? Number two, the tight ends, and not just Bobby Tunyon and his recovery from an ACL, but we've been hearing about Tyler Davis a lot this offseason. And Tyler Davis was a pickup late last year. Like, okay, some depth, special teams help. But we've been hearing about Tyler Davis here for a little bit. Like there's some hype surrounding him. There's some like talk around him. Like, could he be a player? Could he be a part of this offense, a player on this offense, and not just special teams and depth? And we heard there a note that this was about a month ago or so that Tyler Davis, Rich Bisaccia was excited about him and the special teams play. But we've been hearing about, Goody mentioned him about a guy that could take a big step. And I mean, okay, so we've been hearing it all offseason. I want to see if this is a real thing or not. I want to see if this is legit. And this was a kid. I shouldn't say kid, but I mean, he's 25, so now, I'll be 36, so everybody's a kid to me now. But if you remember, he was a converted quarterback to tight end in college. Got his start with UConn, finished up at Georgia Tech in 2020. He was a sixth-round pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars. But that would be number two to me is like the tight ends. And I thought maybe Green Bay would look at the draft, maybe a little bit this offseason with tight ends. And there's still some tight ends available out there on the free agent market. But I've been hearing about Tyler Davis quite a bit this offseason. So I want to see if this is a legit thing. Can he be a player? Can he be a part of this offense and get some snaps? And then number three for me was 3 and 4 on the depth chart for the edge rushers for the outside linebackers. We know the top two. But who's going to step up and take over those 3 and 4 spots? And are they good enough for those 3 and 4 spots? The last couple of years, Green Bay's had some depth at their outside linebackers, at the edge rush, at the spot. Could Green Bay maybe potentially, like what they did with Whitney Merciless last year, bring in a veteran for a little bit more depth after the season starts? But you kind of look at it right now, and it's Tippa and then the rookie Kingsley. You got a little Randy Ramsey mixed in there, a little Jonathan Garvin, but those are kind of unknowns, right? We saw Tippa make some plays a little bit here last year. Kingsley's the rookie. You got Ladarius Hamilton that's been there for a couple of years. But I want to know who that 3 or 4 is because, we've seen with Joe Barry, he likes that rotation, or at least he did last year, and maybe it was because more so the depth, but imagine he wants to keep those edge rushers a little fresh, get a rotation going in there, in and out. So I want to know who's going to take over that 3 and 4 spot on the depth chart for outside linebacker. Is somebody going to stand out? Somebody going to jump out? And if not, is that something that Green Bay kind of has to look at? So those are my top 3 besides if we take the wide receiver thing off. And I know a lot of people kind of look at, okay, Jordan Love development and all that, but I wanted to look at just the some of the other stuff out there. But if you had to pick one, what would it be? So think about that for a little bit. We'll talk some Badgers too with RJ Cardinal coming up 8:20, 8:25 this morning. Before that, we'll catch up with our good friends over the Eau Claire Express. As believe it or not, but that first half of the season Should be closing up here pretty soon. So we'll get our Eau Claire Express updates coming around 8:05. Our turn two question for this morning, kind of a really off the wall sort of thing. But did you guys hear this this thing about Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell? So there's a Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell. They signed deals for a boxing exhibition in July, according to sources. They signed contracts for a heavyweight boxing exhibition on July 30th at Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. So I have to imagine, well, maybe not, but I would maybe imagine that those two won't be continuing their football careers unless a team comes calling, because I've got to imagine, let's say a team comes calling on July 27th when training camp opens. You're like, all right, we want to sign one of you guys. You think that fight's going to happen then? No, but that's not the question here. But take boxers off the table. Take UFC fighters. Sorry, living a dream, Jeff. Take those guys off the table. Guys or girls off the table. Who are the two athletes you don't want to be caught in a ring? Okay. I mean, Adrian Peterson, I look at that guy and, he's built. And first of all, I probably wouldn't want to try to take him one-on-one tackling on a football field. But you're in a ring. Take the boxers, take the UFC fighters off the table, because that's their arena. That's 100% their arena. So take them off the table. Who are two other athletes? And it can be past, can be present. And you're like, nah, I don't want to meet him in a ring, or nope, I don't want to meet him down an alley. I'd be running around in circles. But I mean, is this something that you as a sports fan would tune into and watch? I mean, they did the Frank Gore and Deron Williams. Remember Deron Williams, the point guard, used to play for Illinois. That was an exhibition on was it undercard for a Jake Paul fight? But these are a couple big name. I mean, Frank Gore's a big name, and Williams was an all-star in basketball. But I mean, Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell, a lot of people know who those two running backs are. That's something that would, get you like, all right, I want to tune into that. I want to watch that. I'm game. Peterson's 37. Le'Veon Bell's only 30. But I saw that. I'm like, okay. Got the names. It's going to draw some attention. It's going to get some people to tune in and watch. But, I don't know. I guess it would depend for, how much is it going to cost, and if I have to, if I want to stay home and watch it. I mean, if I'm going somewhere and somebody has it, yeah, I'll pay attention, but I don't know. But anyways, your turn two thing, the two athletes, past or present, that are not boxers or UFC fighters or mixed martial arts. Hell, if you want to throw a celebrity in there like Chuck Norris, I don't care. But can't be a boxer, can't be a professional boxer, can't be a professional UFC or mixed MMA, whatever they call that. Can't be those. Who are the other two? You're like, nope, I ain't getting in the ring with those. Or nope, I ain't going down a dark alley. And if I see that person on the other side, I'm probably peeing my pants or something like that. Well, that's just kind of a little of a random fun thing. You can hit us up with some text, 715-830-1912. But hey, let's get things rolling. Oh, by the way, the first what do you want to call it? Winner of the 4th of July backyard barbecue thing. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, Surveyor. Tail Salad ended up winning. So that's side number one. Numero uno. Right? Numero uno. So today, let's go with the meats. All right. You got to pick one meat. What is the one meat you're firing up on the grill for your backyard barbecue. For your 4th of July backyard barbecue, you've got to throw one on there. I know. C-Bomb, the rest of you probably throw 5 different ones on there. But you got to throw one on there. One meat. Grill or smoker. I don't care. You want to smoke some ribs? Perfect. You want to grill some burgers? Awesome. But you got to pick one. Okay? We'll see. This is probably the one that'll, I have to imagine, would have the most votes coming in. Keep it generic. You can just say brats. You can just say, whatever. So text those babies on over, tweet, Facebook, comment on the video stream, whatever one's easier for you. So let's get things going this morning. Let's talk a little baseball. We'll just kind of throw everything together here in the first hour. A little smorgasbord, see where the conversation takes us here this morning. We'll start it off with a little baseball. I said basketball. We'll start off with a little baseball chat. Brewers getting set for their 2-game series against the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's hear some predictions. Uncommon opponent, not too familiar with the lineup over there. Although they've got some former Brewers over there, G-Man Choi, Brett Phillips, and such. But Brandon Woodruff's back on the mound today for the Brewers. I think everybody's excited to see him back on the mound, see if he can be that all-star self, Brandon Woodruff. A little juice to the lineup, a little juice to the clubhouse, right? So let's hear your predictions. Let's talk a little baseball. Take that first break, and then coming up in just a few minutes, we'll get things rolling here this morning. And don't forget what's grinding your gears. Text those babies on over too. Speaking of ASAP used auto parts right there, don't forget July 20th. Put that on your calendar. July 20th. That's the car show coming. So mark it, put it in your phone. Or if you still got the old school calendar or still like planner and all that, put it down, put it in your memory bank. July 20th car show going on at ASAP Used Auto Parts here in Eau Claire. The location on Menominee Street. Just across the street from Dudonge and all that. So shout out Dudonge over there. But check it all out. July 20th. And then, if you're ever in the market for auto part, want to save some money, ASAP Used Auto Parts, they'll hook you up. Battery, tires, oil change. They do it all over there, baby. Check them out. We've got a few sacks to catch up. I kind of figured this would kind of be all over the board. C-Bomb going with the ribs and the smoker all day. Surveyor, if I have to choose one meat, it's got to be grilled or smoked chicken. You can pull it for sandwiches, slather it in BBQ, leave it plain, perfect for barbecues and eaters of all kind. G-Man, if I remember yesterday, you had picked brats on there. So kind of all over the place right now. Which I expected. Living a Dream Jeff, Morning Dan. What is grinding my gears today is the younger entitled generation that interrupts a conversation that they weren't invited to with opinions I could care less about. All right. Living a Dream Jeff coming in high right away. Surveyor, the two most terrifying players ever are James Harrison and is it Sebastian Chabel? Did I pronounce that last name right? French rugby player. I figured you'd pick a rugby player who looks like he leads a post-apocalyptic. Wow. Oh, man. Just Mad Max Society. All right. Apocalyptic Mad Max Society. You have to send a picture what he looks like, okay? So I can see what you're talking about there. Hey, before we get into a little bit of baseball talk, I know the NBA free agency period is set to begin on Thursday, but a couple of news or nuggets or notes from yesterday afternoon, early evening. Kyrie Irving says he's returning to the Nets. It sounds like the only other the only other team that was potentially interested was the Lakers and Kyrie Irving in a sign and trade. But he's opting back in. He's going to stay with the Nets for another year, and I guess him and KD are going to try to give it a go for another year with the Nets over there. So bring it up because, well, Bucks also play in the same conference. Something to kind of keep an eye out over there. And here's something that's grinding my gears too. Okay, was it last year, a couple years ago, the Bucks got penalized for tampering. Remember, for Bogdanovich? Pick taken away and all that garbage. Well, John Wall, he's going to be getting a buyout. Him and Houston Rockets. I was going to say Texans. Him and the Houston Rockets. They're going to agree to a buyout, but he's already set to join the Clippers. Where's the tampering thing in this whole thing? You think the Clippers are going to get flagged for it? Probably not. But once he clears waivers, he's, Clippers, and it's just, they ain't going to get flagged for tampering. They ain't supposed to do this. Yeah, Bucks got flagged for tampering a couple years ago. Give me a break. The whole tampering to begin with, it happens all the time in every sport. Football, we know it happens with the legal tampering period where they're not supposed to agree to contracts, yet we find out these dang contracts all the time. Way beforehand. We know what happens. Either hammer down on the punishments, on the penalties, on the rules, or just get rid of the thing. You know what happens every single time. And this picking and choosing of when to flag a team for tampering is ridiculous. There's my grind my gears, I guess. All right. Let's chat a little baseball here. Brewers begin their series against the Tampa Bay Rays. G-Man's already got the prediction that the Rays the Brewers will sweep the Rays here. I like the Brewers. Oh my goodness gracious! You're right, Surveyor. Holy crap! That dude. Yeah, my goodness. That rugby dude, you're yeah, I don't want to meet that guy. Anyways, back to baseball here. I gotta minimize that. That's creepy. Brandon Woodruff on the mound for the Brewers. I'm excited to see him back in this rotation. I'm excited to see, is he going to be the all-star Brandon Woodruff that we've come accustomed to these last couple of years? Any lingering effects or anything like that? But it's just good to get Woody back in this rotation. Not only just for his talent to get him in here, but I got to imagine this is going to, pump the clubhouse with a little bit more energy, with a little bit more juice. They got one of their better players back, ready to go. They're in a fight for their division. They're in a fight for, the early part of the season for some standings, playoff standings. But getting a guy like Woody back, gotta imagine it's going to do more than just the play on the field. It's going to do a lot within that clubhouse. One of their leaders, one of their veteran leaders on this ball club. So it's good just to get Brandon Woodruff back on the mound, back on the team. And hopefully he doesn't have any lingering effects from his injury. But I want to see the Brandon Woodruff, going out there 6-7 innings, all-star level. Getting back to him and Corbin Burns being that 1-2 punch. That 1-2 combo that is one of the best in all of Major League Baseball. We know Woody struggled a little bit in spring training, struggled a little bit at the beginning of the season, a little up and down there. But when we look at what Woodruff was doing before he got hurt, okay, so far this year he's 5-3 with a 4.74 ERA, and he has started 9 games so far this season. But when we look at before he got hurt, so he got hurt, or he left that game, against St. Louis, May 27th. He was in for 4 innings, 2 earned runs, 2 hits. Okay. Before that, his previous game was May 21st against Washington, 6 innings, just giving up 1 hit, 1 earned run. Miami, 5 innings, 1 earned run. Cincinnati, that's that May 9th game where he struggled a little bit, 4 1/3, 5 earned runs. But before that injury, it seemed like, okay, Woody was kind of back to being a little Brandon Woodruff that we expected, that we kind of thought. Go back to April, the opener against the Cubbies. He struggled, comes back against the Cardinals, gives a 3-hit shutout performance. Following game against Pittsburgh, 6 innings, just 1 hit. Then Pittsburgh after that on April 26th, 4 earned runs. So, I mean, he's had, what, 3 games where he's struggled there a little bit. He's only had 1 game where he's had double-digit strikeouts, and that was that game against Cincinnati on May 3rd. He had 12. He did have 9 strikeouts against Pittsburgh in April. But let's see. I want to see if Brandon Woodruff is going to be the good old Brandon Woodruff that we're used to seeing here. So excited to see him back on the mound. See if that provides a little bit more juice, a little bit more extra mojo within that clubhouse. And, it'll be cool. The Brewers do know a few of those players on that ball club for Tampa Bay. And it's been a couple years, but Brett Phillips, G-Man Choi over there on the offensive side of things. Rays coming off of a good series against Pittsburgh. Brewers coming off their series win against the Blue Jays there. Both teams kind of in a battle and about the halfway mark of the season. Brewers just holding on to a half a game lead in their division. They kind of, trying to stay relevant in a wild card race because the Yankees are just so freaking far ahead. It's like, all right, you ain't going to catch us. Not going to happen. So you got 2 teams that, at this point, as we approach the halfway mark in the season, it's like every game kind of counts. We're all kind of paying attention. Are you at that point where you're kind of like scoreboard watching with some other teams? I kind of am, was already beforehand. But, I'm paying attention like, okay, Cardinals, are they losing, going, you're rooting for the other team. Like, all right, thanks, Cubs. This past weekend. Appreciate it. One of the few times cheer for the Cubs. Took care of business against the Cards. I'm good. But I'm already kind of scoreboard watching, kind of paying attention. Everybody's at. And it's only the end of June here. We still got July, August, September. But it's what's kind of keeping you tuned in. It's a battle. It's a race right now. And that's kind of the same with the Rays here, too. When you look at it, we went through the standings, at the beginning part of the hour, Rays and Blue Jays, Boston all looking up to the Yankees in their division, so they may be competing for those wild card spots. So it's a fight between these 2 teams where you can kind of make the case a lot. Every one of these games are kind of at that point where it matters. It might be the end of June, and the world isn't going to fall for them if they lose a couple games or if they lose a few games here. But it already has some effects on the standings right now. But I'm scoreboard watching right now. I'm looking at the standings, seeing where everything's at. I know it's June, but it's hard not to kind of pay attention to that right now. But my prediction, I'm going to go, I think the Brewers, okay, I'm going to kind of cop out on this, but it's kind of hard because at least according to MLB.com, Tampa Bay, it's still a TBD for who's going to be thrown out there. You know what? I think I'm going to go with a sweep. I'm going to be optimistic in this thing. I'm going to go with a sweep. You got Woody on the mound tonight. You got Lauer on the mound tomorrow morning. Still kind of weird to say tomorrow morning, midday-ish. I'm going to go with a sweep. I think Woody comes out there. I think he's going to perform well tonight. He's going to throw a good game. We'll kind of look at the game with Lauer in a little bit more detail tomorrow, but I think Lauer, he'll go out there. His last three, he's been giving up quite a few runs, but I think he'll bounce back. In his last 3 games, he's 1-2, and he's given up 5, 4, and 8 runs. Home run ball has been an issue with Lauer, but maybe I'm just being optimistic. Maybe I'm just in a good mood, but yeah, I'll go Brewer sweep. Why not? What the hell, right? Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, before I take another break here, there was something I missed yesterday that I was kind of thinking a little bit about last night. late afternoon. So yesterday was like the anniversary of when the Bucks selected one Greek freak, Giannis. So was it 15 years ago? But got me thinking, who has been the most impactful draft pick in Wisconsin sports history? So it's different than free agency, right? It's different than free agency. So you can't take Brett Favre. Brett Favre wasn't drafted by Green Bay. But you could go way back in Green Bay history. You could say Bart Starr, Aaron Rodgers, Giannis. Heck, you can want to throw Ryan Braun in there. Throw some Brewers players in there. But in terms of, impact, what they've meant for the ball club, what they've meant maybe for the fan base or the state of Scotty, is Giannis the most impactful draft pick in Wisconsin sports history? Or would you argue it's somebody else? You can go back to those early Packers teams, or you can go to an Aaron Rodgers. Maybe you pick Aaron Rodgers because it's like he replaced a legend, and how many times has somebody come in and replaced the legend of the caliber of like a Brett Favre, and maybe even has surpassed him in terms of talents, depending on your opinion on that. Or maybe you kind of look at the 60s Packers and kind of go, well, that, it starts with Starr. Look at all those guys that were drafted. Or maybe you go to, baseball. Maybe you look at a guy like Ryan Braun and say, you know what, that was kind of the turn of the tide for this Brewers franchise. What do you think? Or maybe you go with Yount, Robin Yount. Think about that for a little bit. Would you go with Giannis or would you go with somebody else? Thought about that yesterday afternoon, early evening, and I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts on that. All right, we got to take a quick break here. Let's see if we got anything else on the texting line coming up a little bit later on. We'll check out the video stream, Facebook, tweets, all that. Don't forget, it is a Grind My Gears Tuesday, so if anything else is grinding your gears, get those babies on over. All right, we'll be back in just a couple minutes. River Country Co-op. We're good friends over there from River Country Co-op. So I'll give you a few more minutes if you haven't signed up on our website, sportstalk1051.com. Click on that Nation tab on over there. If you have already signed up and you haven't won, no, you're still good. You're still in the running there. So, but I give you a few more minutes to check it out and sign up for your chance to win $50 from River Country Co-op and some fuel for your tank. All right. Let's take a quick phone call here this morning. How was Valley Fair there yesterday? See you, Bob?
Well, good morning, El Capitano. It was a great time at Valley Fair yesterday.
Yeah. How many? Were you like a little kid over there? What was? Give me the scouting report.
Oh well, no, it was a good time. You see, I got the worst part and what grinded my gears. They got this super high swing that goes around and around. It goes way up in the air. And Owen, that little turd, he wasn't afraid of it. He was ready to go on that ride. We stood in line for that thing for about an hour. And we are right at the gate, and the thing goes down.
You're kidding me.
Nope.
Man.
Said it'd be at least half an hour, so we wasted an hour of our day right at the beginning. But other than that, it was a good time.
All right. Well, good deal. Good deal. Hey, what else is on your mind this morning?
Well, I was thinking about some of the, players I wouldn't want to run into out in a dark alley, and there's a lot of good ones. One guy that I know I wouldn't want to mess with is Mike Daniels, just because he wrestled Division I, so it's one thing to get yourself pounded, but then when they get you to the ground and they know what they're doing, Mike Daniels would tear you apart.
Mm-hmm.
But if I took any players in the history that I wouldn't want to mess with, and there's Ray Lewis and guys like that, but one guy that would not stop until he took your soul would be Bill Romanowski. So I wouldn't want to meet him anywhere.
That's a good one. I forgot about Romo. That guy was nuts.
Oh, he was crazy. I mean, full of roid rage. I mean, they could not have tested for roids back then. But that guy, I mean, he would have beat down his mother for $1 bill,
Well said. Well said. I like that. So, okay, you're going to go with Mike Daniels and Romo?
Yep, those are the two. And Mike
ones. Daniels,
because you get a 300-pounder that knows how to handle his body. You talk to, the Crass boys that from Medford up there, they side with those wrestlers, and I wouldn't want to get on the mat with Mike Daniels. Big Mikey D would tear you up.
That's a good one. I can't argue with those two there. So, hey, I don't know if you heard the question a little bit earlier about, Packers training camp less than a month away. What is the number one, besides wide receivers, what is the one question, one area that you're going to be paying attention to the most in training camp?
Yeah, I heard you talking about that, and you had some good takes on that. Obviously, everybody's going to watch the wide receivers. The tight end group is an interesting one because, if Tunyon doesn't come back at 100%, what are they doing there? But for me, I think I'm actually going to be watching the linebacker group, even though we, got a little bit of addition through the draft. I still want to see, is Devondre Campbell going to be the same as he was last year, or was that a epiphany? So I'm going to watch that and see if there's depth at the linebacker group.
Are you kind of talking about the whole linebacker group, like outside, inside, or just the inside group?
The whole group, outside and inside. You touched on it a little bit, the depth at the outside linebacker position. I think, we make an assumption that we're set there, but, one little injury, we saw what happened with Jair Alexander last year. Thank God we had the depth at corner.
Mm-hmm.
People were kind of questioning, why did they draft Stokes right away? And had they not drafted Stokes, we'd have been in trouble. We don't have that depth at linebacker.
No, that's a good point there too. I agree with you. So, all right. Anything else on your mind this morning there, big guy?
Oh, not much. I was trying to think of a grind my gears, but I had a good day yesterday. And other than I'm up in, I think this is Spring Valley exit. If you are listening to this on the interstate and you are in the left lane, look to your right. If there's no one there, get over.
Oh, I think that one has been a grind my gear for a lot of people these last few years there, big guy. So,
it just drives me batty, I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. All right, dude. Well, you drive safe, okay, bud? Appreciate the phone call this morning.
You bet. You have a great day. Thanks for having me, El Capitano.
You got it. There you go. There's C-Bomb hopping off right there. So, yeah, this was kind of with the Adrian Peterson, Le'Veon Bell thing that they're going to get into a little boxing match right there. Who are the other two athletes? Non-UFC, non-boxing, non-MMA that you're like, nah, I ain't going to meet them in a back alley, or I ain't going to, run into them, or I'd be scared to pee my pants or something like that. So, but you can text those on over. That's a good. James Harrison has been a popular one so far on the texting line. James Harrison has been a very popular one so far. Don't forget, we're creating our 4th of July backyard barbecue too. So today's the meats. Okay. Today is the meats. So what is your one meat that you're throwing up on the smoker, on the grill, whatever? It's all over the place right now. There's not even a leader. Help me out. Help us out. We're creating. This is as voted on by you, the listeners, okay? As voted on by you, the listeners. What is the one meat that you're throwing on the grill for your 4th of July backyard barbecue or smoker? Okay, text those babies on over, tweet them, Facebook them. You guys know the drill, right? So we'll add those up and keep you posted. Okay, yeah, ribs. Got a couple more ribs on there. Barbecue ribs there. Ron Artest, that's a good, decent one. Got about, hey, it's Meta World Peace, right? Remember? Meta World Peace. All right, coming up next hour, we'll chat a little bit more with that green and gold thing, with Packers now under a month away from training camp. Besides the wide receiver group, what are some of the other positions or some of the other questions or what are you be paying attention to the most? I had 3 of them out there. You just heard C-Bombs. What are some of the other ones out there? I put offensive line depth. I put the tight end, and it's mostly because is this Tyler Davis hype for real? Been hearing his name quite a bit from Matt LaFleur and Goody. And then I want to know who's backing up Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary at that outside linebacker spot. Who are the guys that are going to run away with that 3 and 4 spot? Because we've seen, especially with Joe Barry last year, they like that rotation over there. So is there going to be anybody? Or is there going to be a couple guys that are going to step up and kind of run away and try to grab those jobs? Because I think there's some jobs on the line for outside linebacker. Or maybe if nobody impresses in training camp preseason, does Green Bay look outside to bring somebody in? So those are just kind of my few questions that I got over there. The big hurt, Frank Thomas. That's a good one. Derrick Henry, the guy is a beast, the running back. That's another good one there too. There's a lot of people. I mean, come on, these are athletes. These are some prime Greek gods out there that probably had the list as long of guys you do not want to meet in an alley or match up in a ring. What up, Morgs?
Hey, Kasper, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
How would you rate
I'm a few days away from vacay, so I'm feeling good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you guys decide to land on some plans?
No.
No, not upland?
He wants to go to Legoland at Mall of America.
Oh, don't go barefoot. You don't want to step on those things.
He's into that, so that's what he's counting down.
Have you been there before?
I've seen it.
Oh, he'll dig it. Yeah, you should take him to Legoland. So were Legos in your toy arsenal as a kid?
Oh, yeah.
So I
wish I still had them.
So you had Legos. Did you ever do any like Lincoln Logs or building?
I had the Lincoln Logs. My grandma still has my Lincoln Logs.
So
I think Hudson has them now.
You had to sit down. Do you guys do board games?
Once in a while.
If
I
you're
was never
sitting
a big
down,
board game guy.
Not like Madden video games, but like classic board games, what would you pick? Because we used to play Uno like champs, or there was this game.
You
remember Operation?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that pretty much gives you a child. Yeah, a child ulcer.
Trying to think, I wasn't that big in board games. I mean, I had them though, but I like Monopoly. I can tell you right now, I've never played a complete game of Monopoly.
No one on the face of the earth has ever completed a game of Monopoly.
I had Risk, but that's too long. If it's too long, I can't I tune out right away.
Well,
I'm more of like the Trivial Pursuit type of person.
Yeah, well, that was big. We
Yeah.
did a lot of Trivial Pursuit. But the thing with Monopoly is there's so many pieces and everybody gets frustrated. My sister and I, you remember that little colored money?
Yeah.
It's like the pink and the green and the blues.
Yep.
My sister and I stole all of that from the board game in our family room to play house with and bank and all these other games that we made up because apparently we were born in black and white before fun. So we stole all of the money from our Monopoly game. So we never even had a complete set if we did want to play it. But when it came to like pulling something off the shelves, her and I would throw down bitterly in Uno, which is easy to do because you can bend the cards and cheat.
Right.
Which is, basically translates to a hustle move in Vegas. But that was always top of the mind. We loved a good game of Uno.
Remember Seen It?
No, what's that?
That was like the movie one. So like it was like a DVD, but then
I would fail at this. I'm not a movie person.
I remember that one. But then it was like after a couple times you memorized all the questions on the DVD.
What about Jenga? Like, did you ever do any of that? The stuff that just made a huge mess?
A couple times.
Yeah, because you need a sibling for that though, because everyone knows if the Jenga comes down, you're making your little brother or sister pick it up. If you're not in charge of that mess.
I wasn't trying to think of some other. Candyland was just as a kid.
What does Hudson like to do? Does he have a game he likes to play?
He does play Candyland.
You guys should get. Do you know Guess Who?
Yeah.
Siggy. That was a big with Siggy, but now kids these days, instead of people, they have like a food sheet. They have a pet sheet. They have all these crazy other sheets.
He wants
that
to
you
play
can play.
Monopoly.
No.
He does. But I don't think he understands it. But he also told me the other day a cloud looked like a pagoda. So I don't know how he got that figured out.
Some of them do. Have you seen some of these summer clouds that we have right now?
Yeah, but how the heck does he know what a pagoda is? I only know a pagoda from a Woo's pagoda.
Probably because I play Trivial Pursuit with him.
Oh,
yeah. I got to brush him up a little bit.
So, all right. Well, if you got any ideas, let me know.
We'll TikTok to your vacation time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking like you have a little extra spring in the step now.
I'm ready.
TikTok.
I'm ready. All right, one in, two more to go. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
WAYY Eau Claire. W286CK Eau Claire. Sports Talk 105.1, 790 AM. Sports Talk 105.1 with the very latest local news.
Well, there's a wrongful death lawsuit from a 2019 officer-involved shooting in Eau Claire County. Tyler Muir's family filed the lawsuit, and they want police in Augusta and the sheriff's office in Eau Claire County to pay for his death. An Eau Claire County deputy shot and killed Muir after he attacked the deputy. An investigation at the time said Muir shrugged off a taser and pepper spray before being shot. Muir was no stranger to authorities. He had served 5 years for murder in Clark County back in 2010. In other headlines, the superintendent in Sparta Schools is on leave after an outside investigation found complaints of threats, intimidation, and aggressive behavior. Superintendent Amy Van Duren says all of the teachers and school administrators who spoke to investigators told one side of the story. She's denying claims against her. Investigators say they spoke with more than a dozen Sparta teachers and staff who said Van Duren easily became angry, pounded on tables, pushed into people's personal space, and even tried to break into a meeting where teachers were talking about those behaviors. Sparta School Board now looking to launch an investigation of its own. One of Wisconsin's congressmen wants Congress to stop the Biden administration from using school lunch money to push schools to accept new transgender policies. With more details on this, it's John DeMaster bringing us the story.
Republican Congressman Glenn Grothman yesterday filed what he's calling the Stop Woke Meals Act. It's a plan that would have Congress stop the Department of Ag from withholding school lunch money from schools that keep distinctions between biological boys and biological girls. Grothman says that nobody would have dreamed that money for schools would be used as leverage in the country's gender debate. His plan is doomed in the current Congress. I'm John DeMaster.
A peek into the political stage shows Republican voters getting a look at 3 of the 4 candidates running for governor in the state. It was the first debate last night in Green Bay, but noticeably absent frontrunner Tim Michels. He skipped the debate. Opponents made sure to make that an issue. Republicans Rebecca Kleefisch, Kevin Nicholson, Tim Ratham all criticized Michels for not showing up and for his out-of-state homes and whether he's committed to the state. As for the issues, well, all 3 agreed on election integrity, crime, school choice, and agreed on that new ruling that struck down Roe versus Wade. And we've all had those playoff games. Maybe you throw a little prayer up. Well, the Supreme Court is ruling in favor of an ex-high school coach in Washington state who lost his job for praying on the field. Here's more.
The Supreme Court ruled Monday that the Bremerton School District in Washington violated the First Amendment rights of high school football coach Joseph Kennedy. Kennedy lost his job for praying at the 50-yard line after games. The opinion was 6-3. claiming that the coach's prayers amounted to private speech protected by the First Amendment, and it could not be limited by the school district. Jordan Christmas, NBC News Radio.
It's exactly what we have Casper doing. I come in and I play the Wednesday wild card with him, and then he runs out of the studio every time. I'm like, what are you doing? We just played a game. He said he has to.
Praying at the 50-yard line after games.
For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
We'll continue to see clouds filter in throughout the morning, which will eventually lead to an initial round of showers and storms, but a better chance of showers and storms moves through later on this afternoon. Otherwise, our temperatures making the climb to the upper 70s and low 80s. Going into tonight, we'll start to see those chances for showers and storms taper off, with temperatures dipping to about the mid-50s, setting up a beautiful day for tomorrow with plenty of sunshine and temperatures in the mid-80s. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike Dandria.
The corn and soybean crops across the country are now considered all planted for this year.
Second hour kicking off right now. Dan Kasper Show is on the air. Appreciate you tuning in, however you're tuning in, and wherever you are tuning in on this Tuesday morning. Got a few things out there looking for your picks. Your turn 2 question, thanks to Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell, going to be putting on the gloves and duking it out in a ring, who are 2 athletes that are non-boxers, that are non-MMA or UFC, that you do not want to beat in an alley, or you would not want to go at it in a ring. Like the money wouldn't be enough for you to go in there and try to do battle. Like somebody gave you $1 million and you had to go in there for 5-10 minutes. You're like, nah, I ain't doing it. Not worth it. Who are those? All right, we got a bunch of them all over the place here. What is the meat that you're putting on the grill or the smoker for your 4th of July backyard barbecue? Yesterday, potato salad won the first side. We'll get to another one later on this week, but we're doing the meats today. So far, I would say ribs are the leader, but just barely. Just barely, okay? So, still anybody's ballgame. Also, taking your Brewers predictions for this series against the Rays, a quick 2-game trip. Brandon Woodruff is back on the mound for the Brew Crew. So, let's get your predictions on there. And then, with Packers training camp officially under 1 month away, besides wide receivers, what is the question? What is the position group? What is the one other thing that you're going to be looking at or paying attention to? Let's do some sports nuggets of the day here. Oh, and we also had another question too. So yesterday was, and I'll hit this up here in a couple minutes, but if anybody wants to kind of chime in on this. Yesterday, I missed this. I forgot it. And I was thinking about this late afternoon, early evening. So it was 15 years ago yesterday that the Bucks drafted Giannis. I think that worked out fairly well. By the way, did anybody watch the movie on Disney Plus yet? Rise, about Giannis and his family. I have yet to check that out. But is that pick, draft pick, we're talking strictly draft picks. So Reggie White, Brett Favre, they don't count in this thing. But in terms of draft picks by a Wisconsin sports team, which one, just one, if you had to pick just one, it has been the most or the biggest, most impactful is what I guess what I'm trying to say. Most impactful draft pick of all time for Wisconsin sports. Has it been Giannis? Would you say Bart Starr? Would you say Aaron Rodgers? Would you go Robin Yount? Would you go, a couple other ones out there? Think about that for a little bit. Let's do some sports nuggets. And speaking of, the athletes that you wouldn't want to meet, if I included boxers, I think this would probably be the one that I would put on here for one of my top 2, Mike Tyson. But it was this day in 1997, the bite that was heard around the world. 1997, Mike Tyson was disqualified for biting Evander Holyfield's ear after 3 rounds of their WBA heavyweight title fight in Las Vegas, Nevada. I remember that happening. So I was about to turn 11, but I remember seeing the highlights of it. I remember it might have been like later that night. No, it might not have been later that night. I was only about to be 11. It was summer though, so who knows? But I remember when that happened, whether it was the next day or whatever. But I can still, anybody who's seen the clip, you can still picture it, right? You can still picture it. Is that like the biggest WTF moment that you could think of in all of sports? Like what is that one big, of any game or like in game action too? Like while the game's going on, or nothing like off the field, off the court, but like, is that did that really just happen? Like, what in the world was that? Is that like the biggest one that you can remember? Like the one that you've watched personally too, okay? The one that you've seen, or the one that you were around for, whether you saw highlights of it or, while you were alive. So nothing from 1892. I don't know. I'm just throwing out a year. You got the Fail Mary, if you want to throw a little Packer one in there. You got another, I guess, miracle in Motown if you want to do Aaron and that. But I just when you think about it, a dude bit another dude's ear off, bit it off. Like, that really happened between two of the best boxers of all time. Like, what was just kind of going through the mind at that point? Like, what in the world? You know what I mean? I think that's easily got to be towards the top of a WTF moment. Like, did that happen? Like, to this day, how many years now is it? Or 20 some years? It's still like that really happened. I mean, I guess you could go different ways with it. I mean, you could go like an ending of a game or a controversial ending like the Fail Mary or, just some other stuff. So it's kind of open-ended, I guess. But in terms of like in-game action or during a match or during a bout, anything like that, man, there's not going to be many that's going to top that. So, yeah, the Ron Artest Meta World Peace, the Malice, was it the Malice at the Palace? I remember that happening too, because I actually found out about it the next morning, because the reason I remember this, it was the opener of deer hunting season, November. And I remember because I went to bed early because you got to get up early, and I remember to a bunch of texts on my phone from some friends asking, "Did you see what happened between Pistons and Pacers?" I'm like, "No." So I started to look it up. I'm like, holy moly! So I remember that just because of what the next day was, and like going through all those texts. Antonio Brown with the Bucks against the Jets this last year had me asking that. Yeah, that's a good one too. That's a good one. Randy Moss mooning the crowd. Okay. Malice in the Palace, another one there for your from Surveyor. This is kind of okay. So Surveyor's got to grind my gears too. This is kind of related to C-Bombs a little bit earlier. DK, you know what's grinding my gears? Turn signals. I know it's so difficult to take the half second to turn on your blinker, but everyone's sake, please do it. The car companies even made it really easy. There's a little handle on the left side of your steering wheel that if you push it down, it makes the left turn signal turn on. If you lift it up, it turns on the right signal. It's not that difficult. You know what? I agree with you, because I always get after my wife for that. She doesn't do it sometimes, and it bugs the crap out of me. And I always have to mention it. C-Bomb has to be Aaron Rodgers. Giannis is huge for the Bucks and obviously brought a title to Milwaukee. But Rodgers is one close the door on Hall of Fame. I'm not quite sure what that means. Holy, is this a speech to text there, C-Bomb? But Rodgers is one closed the door on a Hall of Fame's career in Green Bay and started another chapter of Hall of Fame quarterback play and success in Green Bay. With no Rodgers, how long does McCarthy coach? LaFleur never comes in. We never win a Super Bowl in 2011. What might the franchise look like had 12 never been brought in? We could ask that for Giannis, though, too. Like, if the Bucks don't draft Giannis, or the Bucks in Milwaukee, remember, it was just a few years ago, there was the whole stadium thing, like, is this going to happen? Now, I know the Herb Cole would have tried to make sure that it would stay in Milwaukee in that, but I mean, if Giannis isn't in Milwaukee, you can kind of make the same arguments that you're just making with Aaron Rodgers there, though, too. Just to kind of back up Giannis. I think you can make a case for a few of these guys, and I'd throw Giannis and Aaron right there at the top. G-Man's going to go with Robin Yount, the kid. Good one there, too. Maybe for a younger generation of Brewers fans, would you go with like a Ryan Braun or Prince Fielder? Maybe it's kind of like during my generation or a little bit younger. That was kind of the turn of when, okay, Brewers are actually going to be a decent team. Maybe for diehard Brewers fans of a younger generation, they may look at that. Now, I wouldn't put them up there, but I'm just kind of throwing out some other names out there because was it 2007, 2008? That's kind of when it started to turn the tide there for a little bit for the Brewers. There's and you can say about Ryan Braun's legacy after that, but think about it. Got a star pick over there too, but think about it. The star one too would be like, okay, Lombardi came in after. Would Star still have been Star if Lombardi didn't come in? Different direction, but Tony Mandrich I think that's supposed to be set the Packers back how many years? That was an impact. Yeah, that's a different one there too. That's a good point. Thanks for that, Tex. That's definitely a good point. If you go the opposite end, which draft pick has kind of set back a franchise? A couple of years or a few years. Tony Mandrich would probably be a popular one, especially when you look at who was surrounding him. But then you can kind of go like, okay, then, if Green Bay, let's say they drafted Aikman, or I don't know, if it would have went different, is there a Brett Favre? Isn't it kind of weird with the trick, like the butterfly effect with all that? How much one little moment in time, one little decision, or one little thing could have changed the landscape of a person, of someone's career, or a team. Just one little thing. One little effect in the universe could have changed everything at that point. Got a couple more Aaron Rodgers picks. Got a few Giannis picks. Do have a Luol Cinder pick. They're all over the place. I kind of figured that would be. And maybe it depends on the generation you kind of grew up in too, a little bit. But think about it. Let me know. Okay, shoot me some texts or comments on the video stream if you want. Twitter or Facebook. Also, with we're going to talk a little Packers here with Joe coming up here in just a second. But before we do that, again, what's the one thing besides the receivers in Green Bay? Now that we are 1 month under training camp, what is the one thing besides wide receivers that you think is the biggest question, or it's the thing that you're going to be looking at, or issue, however you want to describe it? Besides receivers, what is the one thing that is kind of like standing out to you that you're going to be paying attention to, or you want that question answered? So think about that for a little bit. Hit me up with some texts or messages. We're going to take a quick break, but keep these picks coming too with the most impactful Wisconsin draft pick. So it can't be Favre, can't be White, can't be anybody that was traded for, but the most impactful draft pick in Wisconsin sports history. We got a couple more for Giannis. Right now, I would say the leaders in the clubhouse from the texting line is Rodgers and Giannis as your top two. Those are your top two right now. So are you going to add on to that, or are you going to vote for somebody else? This is interesting. Keep these babies coming. All right, let's take a quick break. Then coming up, we'll chat a little bit more green and gold. The next hour, we've got some Badger chat, too, with RJ Cardinal. We'll catch up with our good friends from the Express as well, just past 8 o'clock. Busy Tuesday morning continues in just a couple minutes.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
Imagine having a fence in your backyard, whether it be for a little bit more privacy, keeping those kids or pets in the yard, or just sprucing up the yard a bit more. But when you look at how much it costs, is that what turns you away from getting that fence that you've always wanted? Well, listen closely here, because I'm about to tell you an awesome deal that's going to be happening at the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore, Saturday, July 16th. For those of you who keeps tabs, that's the day before my birthday, starting at 10:30 a.m., the Restore has a big sale on miscut dog-eared fence picket boards. These are 1-inch by 8-inch by 6-foot picket boards for only $1.50 a piece. That's $1.50. You won't find a better deal elsewhere to get that fence you've always wanted. Plus, you're supporting the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity with your purchases. So mark it on your calendars for the big sale on the fence picket boards on July 16th, starting at 10:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore, located on Claremont Avenue. We got a couple more picks here. Going Giannis, going Rogers. For the WTF sports movement, the band on the field. That's a good one there, too. I like that one. That's a good one, too. I don't know if anything will top the Tyson E. Holyfield biting ear off, though, for me, which happened this day in 1997. So what were you doing in 97 there, Joseph, 1997?
Oh, man. 97, I was 30 years old, living in Madison at the time. Actually, you know what I was doing? I can say I was doing a regular sports talk show in Madison at the time, too. So, yeah, it was you just took me in the way back machine, man.
Yeah.
97. Wow.
Yeah, it was this day in 97 when Tyson bit Holyfield's ear off, man. Bit it off. I still remember that, as a soon-to-be 11-year-old seeing that.
Yeah, that was a little weird. Yeah, that's one of those moments, you know, not to go Al Michaels with Antonio Freeman, but he did what?
Yeah.
That's where you go with that one. Because if somebody would have said, hey, did you hear what happened in the fight? Yeah, he bit his ear off. That's one of those where you're just like, no, he didn't. No, that's a lie.
Yep.
Yeah, that is one of those, and it just you don't think about it until somebody brings it up, and then when somebody brings it up, you're like, wow, that really did happen.
That's almost one of those like moments in sports history too. I wish Twitter was around for. just to see all those tweets on that. That would have been something.
Yeah, brother. That you are correct. And matter of fact, I've said this before. I was at a wedding this weekend, and a couple of people I went to college with, and we just said, thankfully, there was no social media when we went to college. So I'm pretty happy about that thing.
Yeah, I look back on my Facebook memories from statuses when I was in college, and I'm like, what the hell was I doing? Why did I post that? Yeah, it was just ridiculous. So, hey, we're a month under training camp here, big boy. So the countdown is on. We're kind of talking a little bit about it, some of the biggest questions that maybe people would have with this team, or what they want to watch for in training camp. And you and I are going to kind of take a look at some of the positions. And one of the question marks I have for this team as training camp approaches is the offensive line depth. And before we kind of get into some of the players, but I look at this offensive line group and just how two players completely changed the landscape of this group. David Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins. Big question marks we don't know if they'll be ready to go when the season starts. But I mean, those two players completely changed the course of how this offensive line looks, Joseph.
Yeah, no doubt. Pete Prisco from CBS recently had his top 100 players going into this season. And Aaron Rodgers was listed number 2. Jair Alexander, I believe, was 25. You had Devondre Campbell and Rashawn Gary in there, and you also had Kenny Clark in there. And then in your honorable mention, all right, for the Green Bay Packers, You had Aaron Jones, but then you had Elton Jenkins and David Bakhtiari. And so you're absolutely correct that, and going into previous years, both Bakhtiari and Jenkins top 100 players in the NFL. And so, yeah, huge question marks there. And I think if I here in late June were to make a prediction, I think that Bakhtiari is the starter game one. And I think Elton Jenkins starts the year on the pup. I think if I was a betting man, that's the place I would go. But you're absolutely right. Those two healthy change this offensive line dynamic like no other position of the Green Bay Packers right now.
If Elton Jenkins is healthy and ready to go, what spot are you putting him on the line? His old left guard spot or right tackle?
I think right tackle. I think John Runyon Jr. showed what he could do at that left guard position, and I really liked the depth there. Sean Ryan from UCLA, the rookie, he was getting reps there in these last mini camps, and also you like Zach Tom, who the Packers also drafted, and Rasheed Walker from Penn State, and so you've got some rooks there. But I say Elton Jenkins is the right tackle, but I just don't see him being ready game one. I think that again, and they talk about the difference, and I know they're having this conversation now about Tunyon, because some are thinking that Tunyon could come back and be ready game one because it was a clean tear. And so I don't know the details on Jenkins. I just find it hard to believe with everything that Bakhtiari went through that he's going to be ready game one. But I see him at right tackle. I think that right tackle position is going to come down between Josh Nijman and Cole Van Lannon. And, of course, Cole Van Lannon, the Wisconsin kid. I think you're going to see a battle there. You might see Ryan maybe be able to swing out and play that right tackle position. But I think they're going to want to keep him a little bit more consistent on that inside play. Zach Tom could also play that. But I think if Elton Jenkins isn't ready, I think the plan is going to be when he is, he steps into that right tackle position. But I think it's going to be a battle between Josh Nijman and Cole Van Lannon. Now, Royce Newman has also gotten some reps there. And so, again, the Packers like versatility. They like guys who can play multiple positions. And you're seeing that already this offseason with how they're moving guys around.
Ideally, we would like an offensive line that excels both in pass protection and run protection. But given how this offense might look or what we expect it to look like this year, would you rather have the Packers offensive line be able to, pass protect a whole lot better, knowing maybe Aaron's going to hold on to the ball a little bit longer? Or do you think they've got to really focus on being a premier run blocking unit because of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, and they may be running the ball a little bit more?
I think it's the run unit, and I actually go the other direction as far as the passing game. I think Aaron Rodgers gets the ball out of his hand more quickly than he has in the past, because I think he's waited for Devontae to break open or a big play, and I think you're going to see Rodgers playing the framework of the offense more. So and again, I think when you look at the strength of this Green Bay Packer team, I think you look at A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, and again, just like we just talked about, Aaron Jones on Pete Prisco's list just missed the top 100 players in the NFL. I don't think A.J. Dillon can be really too far behind that. And so you look at the strength of this Green Bay Packer team, and you say to yourself, the strength is going to be with those two guys. And I think you lean on the strength. And so I think that argument, that situation actually hurts Josh Nijman a little bit at that right tackle position, because he is built. He's got the feet, he's got the movement, he's got everything that a left tackle needs, and he just doesn't have that girth to move in the running game that you like at that right tackle position. So that in of it itself might lead the Green Bay Packers to starting Cole Van Lannon or someone else at that right tackle position and keeping Josh as the backup to David Bakhtiari. So I think you're going to see a bigger emphasis, and of course, Stenovich now is your coordinator. Luke Butkus is in charge of that offensive line. I think you're going to see a bigger emphasis put on the run game for the Green Bay Packers.
Joe DeGuano joining us here this morning, chatting a little green and gold as we are officially under a month from the start of training camp, taking a look at the offensive line group here for Green Bay. You kind of highlighted a couple of them, but Green Bay did go heavy in the draft, adding a couple of offensive linemen in this draft. If you had to pick one of those rookies that really intrigues you the most this year, who would that be?
I really do like Sean Ryan. I think what he brings to the table, and Sean Ryan, of course, offensive lineman out of UCLA, 6'5", 320. And the Green Bay Packers selected him in round 3. I think he gives you that versatility, and he was a really, really highly touted recruit too, and I think he gives you that versatility. That's a guy I think that could step right in, and it's interesting when you start looking at the different rookies and you start comparing. Zach Tom just doesn't look as big as he is, but there's another guy that's got good size, got good movement skills, able to get to the second level. He's 6'4", 304, and so. But when you look at Sean Ryan, he's got a little in my mind back in the days of Josh Sitton. And it's not just the hair. It's the way he plays the game and the mean streak he has. So I think out of all the rookies, and I don't want to dismiss Rasheed Walker, the 7th round pick out of Penn State. I think he brings an athleticism to the table that Green Bay could be able to sneak him on the 53. But I think the one guy that I think is most NFL ready is Sean Ryan. And I think he could swing in a lot of different positions. He could be, right now, again, he's slated backup left guard behind John Runyon Jr., but I could see him playing along the line. And again, Matt LaFleur's motto, the 5 best are going to play, regardless of position. So is Sean Ryan potentially better than a John Runyon Jr. or even a Royce Newman? I would say potentially, yeah. I think out of all the rookies, he has the biggest chance to start. Just when you look at the pedigree, when you look at what he brings to the table, and again, just watch some game film of him. It's pretty impressive. And you look at pass pro and you look at run block, and he brings both of those attributes to the table. So again, if I had to pick one of the 3, I would go with Ryan.
You have to wonder if, Green Bay, when they looked at Zach Tom and they drafted him, they're thinking, and this is a tall order to ask, but could be an Elton Jenkins type of player, because the guy's played center, the guy's played guard, he's even played left tackle a little bit for Wake Forest. I mean, that's big shoes to try to compare him to, but you got to have to wonder if that's kind of what went through the mind process of Goody and the Packers front office when they looked at Zach Tom. We know they like versatility on the offensive line, but not too often do you see a guy who could play literally all positions on the offensive line.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And even, if you compare the scouting report on Elton Jenkins coming out and the body type and those types of things with Zach Tom, it really is it really is an interesting comparison. And again, he's really kind of a center prospect, but he played the last 2 seasons of college at left tackle. And when you looked at his pass pro, and you look at the intelligence that he brings to the game, and I think that's something too that people don't realize with Elton Jenkins. The guy is so smart, and to be able to pull not just double duty but triple duty, knowing the plays and of the center, and knowing what the left guard does, and knowing what the right tackle does, and going on down the line. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think they said, you know what, lightning struck first and struck once with Elton Jenkins. We're going to try to get it with Zach Tom out of Wake Forest, and so. Again, I love the philosophy of loading up in the draft on this position, because as the Green Bay Packers saw last year with injuries and Josh Myers was out for quite a while, and obviously we've been talking about Elton Jenkins and Bakhtiari. You just can't have too many good offensive linemen, and I think this goes back to the philosophy of Matt LaFleur to make Aaron Rodgers comfortable and to make this offense go. It's going to have to be predicated on the run game. And then from there, the play action pass.
What do you think or what would you want Royce Newman to improve on the most in his sophomore year? Guy got a lot of snaps, started a lot of games, but didn't start, at the end in the postseason there for Green Bay. So when you look at Royce Newman, what is one area that you would like to see him really get better at this year?
I think holding his ground. And so Royce Newman reminds me a lot of a former Packer offensive lineman, Darren College. And Darren College came out, and he just didn't have the lower body girth to be able to hold his ground. And he was able to be pushed back into the backfield. And you saw that last year with Royce Newman. And so I think that's probably it, is anchoring better. And Aaron Rodgers made a comment about it that actually Royce does look bigger this offseason. So I think that's the biggest area. And again, when you look at hard play, you really need to be able to anchor. And if you can't anchor, you're going to lose a lot of battles up front. So I would say the biggest thing for Royce Newman is again to be able to anchor and sustain blocks in both the run game and pass pro.
And you look at this, if we kind of look at the starters, if everybody's healthy, Bakhtiari, Runyon, Myers, Newman, and then Jenkins on that 5. That's a fairly young offensive line group. If you take Bakhtiari out of there, I mean, Elton Jenkins is still on a rookie contract, especially the interior lineman. Runyon coming his 3rd year, Josh Myers his 2nd year, but he missed quite a bit of time last year. Then Royce Newman. Is there any concern with that interior offensive line when it comes to the running game about experience or if they can hold up or anything like that?
Well, I think so. I think you always need to be cognizant of your weak spots or weaknesses, and I think that relatively inexperienced line and Josh Myers, everyone talked about. He really showed last year in the limited time that he played, but going back to it, it was a limited time that he played, and so you're going to be able to fool him from a defensive coordinator and from a defensive line coach sometimes, and so there is a concern there. But I will tell you that if Bakhtiari's back and if Elton Jenkins can play this year, I think I don't know if you could find it. And if Elton Jenkins and Bakhtiari back to even close to what they were, I don't think you're going to find a better tackle tandem. And so I think with the experience that Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins, even though he's still a younger guy, he's got a lot of experience along that offensive line. I think they're going to be able to help mentor and bring along these other young guys. So there are question marks with youth, but I think I'd rather go that side than signing the retread offensive lineman and hoping to squeeze another season out of them. And so I like this philosophy better, going with the inexperience, going with the youth, and going the other direction.
You might have just answered my next question to you, because the last couple of years we've seen Green Bay kind of go out there and bring in a veteran for another year, right? It was Dennis Kelly last year. A couple of years ago it was Rick Wagner. When you look at this depth, and again, you might have just answered it. Can you see, or would you like to see Green Bay, as training camps going on and preseason's going on, maybe to bring in a veteran right tackle or a veteran that could play multiple spots on there, or go with this youth that they got on there?
I think you go with the youth this year. I think you've got, look, when you look at, and if you just project, let's say the Packers keep 9 offensive linemen, all right, and let's say that Elton Jenkins starts the season on the pup. Well, you got Bakhtiari, Josh Myers, Royce Newman, Yosh Nijman, Sean Ryan, John Runyon, Zach Tom, Rasheed Walker, and Cole Van Lannon. Those would be my 9, again, with Elton Jenkins starting the season on the pup. I just don't think you're going to find someone out there that's a veteran that's going to bring more to the table than you've got. And again, once camp starts and you get these guys in pads, maybe the game is too big for Rasheed Walker. Maybe Zach Tom is too small to play. So once you get pads on, you make that you make that move. Then I don't think you do anything going into training camp. I think you're pretty well set there. And again, I really like that depth. And even Rasheed Walker in the 7th round, I think that they've got a player that has a chance to stick there. So I would definitely, looking at what they've got to work with, I would definitely go with you.
With taking health off the board, final question here with the offensive line. Taking health off the board, what is your next biggest question as a whole surrounding this group?
Whether or not Josh Myers can be that next great center. And there was a lot of debate in the draft because and help me out, Captain. Was it Creed Humphrey was the other center that was taken off the board by Kansas
Chiefs.
City?
Yep.
And that he was arguably the best prospect coming out. Most people said that he was the best center prospect coming out. Green Bay decided to go with Josh Myers. And so I think that's the biggest question for me is, did they make the right move there? And again, in limited time last year, he looked like he was certainly going to be a player and can be a player in the NFL, but that was in limited time. And again, when you've got a center position, I always look at this. When you go from year 1 to year 2 and guys have tape on you and they start getting tendencies, that's when you got to step up your game, because now they're looking and saying, okay, this guy has a tendency to do this or that. I think the question really comes down to, did Green Bay make the right move at center with Josh Myers over Creed Humphrey?
I said that was the last question, but a follow-up there with the center position, because I agree with you. But would you say with, Elton Jenkins, he can play a little center in a pinch. Zach Tom has played center. Would you say Jake Hansen is in danger? Maybe that one guy on this team that really has to have a great training camp and a preseason to solidify his spot on this roster?
No question. No question. And Jake Hansen has been a guy that's been on the practice squad a couple of years and bounced up and down between the active roster. And yeah, no question. He is a bubble guy. When you talk about guys, he's one of those guys that's a veteran bubble guy. And so you've got some unsigned guys or undrafted guys, as far as on that bubble as well. Really not seeing them bringing a lot to the table. But yeah, I think Jake Hansen's the guy. I think he's the one that you say, look, kid, we think you might be able to have a career in the NFL, but probably not in Green Bay. But yeah, I think he's going to have an outstanding camp. Or if injuries happen, I think that's the only way that Jake Hansen sticks on this team.
He's Joe DeGuano. We're under 1 month away from training camp. It's almost football season here. Dude, appreciate the time, buddy. Enjoyed it.
You know what? It's so much fun, Captain, talking to you. It is the highlight of my week. And I'm going to be seeing you tomorrow. I know we're going to be doing a little influencer talk and influencer marketing talk. So I cannot wait to talk influencer marketing with you, and also maybe have a beverage or two.
I think we might make some time for that. We're in a good spot for it over at the Brewing
Project.
Project.
A beautiful week this week, then, my friend.
You got it, man. You got it. All right, we'll see you tomorrow there, big boy. Thanks for the time this morning.
All right, Captain. Have a good one, brother.
You too. There you go. There's Joe DeGuano joining us here this morning, chatting a little green and gold. Let's finish up the second hour by taking a quick break here. And then we got another busy 8 o'clock hour coming up. All right, we'll be back after these quick words.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
that truckload sale. I might be stopping on over there tomorrow or Thursday, so maybe we'll see you over there. 29 Pines, River Country Co-op, 29 Pines, Eau Claire Travel Center over there. Load up on the beverage of the summer, baby, right there. That's a heck of a deal on some Twisted Tea. I'll have to add some to the man cave over there. Hey, also on the calendar, we got coming up on July 9th. July 9th is the Ultra Classic at Princeton Valley. All right, so July 9th for $100, 2-person scramble. That includes, your golf, your carts, some food, drink tickets, or excuse me, a 6-pack of Bud products, whole and cash prizes. You can register at the pro shop over there. But this is a good little outing to go to before the Casper Classic, which is going to be at the same course a month later. So, but put it on your calendar if you're not doing anything next Saturday, July 9th, 9 a.m. check-in, 10 a.m. shotgun start. It's the Ultra Classic at Princeton Valley, the third annual one there. So more details, you can give Princeton Valley a call, and that's when you register your team, your 2-person team over there too. Speaking of River Country too, let's give away some more gas. So I got $50 gas giveaway from River Country Co-op here. If you have not signed up for your chance to win, you can do so by going to sportstalk1051.com, clicking on the Nation tab, and you'll see one of the icons there, logos there. All you got to do is just sign up. It's free. It's simple. It takes you like 10 seconds. That's it. So if you didn't win today, if you haven't won in the past, we got a couple more we're going to be giving away. So you still got some time to sign up. All right. So let's do this. Got the random.org. Got all the numbers in. Let's just press the space bar and it'll randomly assign a number. It is, 47. And that is Jessica. All right. Congratulations to Jessica, who has won $50 in fuel from River Country Co-op. We'll send you an email and we'll put it in the mail for you too, in case you're listening. That way you don't have to waste any gas driving over here to pick it up. So congratulations. And again, if you have not won, you can still sign up because we got a couple more. Tell you what, we'll give away another one tomorrow too. Okay, I'm in a good mood. We'll give away another one tomorrow. So you got some time to sign up. So we threw out a bunch of different questions to you so far here this morning. And I want to get your input. The most impactful Wisconsin sports draft pick of all time. Last year was 15. Was it 15? No, it wasn't 15. Did I say 15 years ago when Giannis was drafted? I say that early. He was a 15th pick. That's what was in my mind. So 2013, he was, If I said 15 years, that's my bad. I had the number 15 in my mind. That's the number he was selected at, 15th overall. But it was 2013. So is Giannis the most impactful draft pick of all time in Wisconsin sports history? Is it Aaron Rodgers? Is it Robin Yount? Is it Bart Starr? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We got a few of them. But, you can't pick Favre. You can't pick White. They weren't draft picks. But who, in your opinion, if you had to rank number one, is the most impactful Wisconsin draft pick of all time? If you did not pick or you did not chime in yet, you can do so by texting, tweeting, Facebook, or stream. Also, we threw out there, what's the biggest WTF sports moment you witnessed? This is back in 97 today. It was when Tyson bit the ear of Holyfield. We had a good one, Malice in the Palace. The band is on the field. Remember that? Stanford. Randy Moss, Moon in the Lambeau crowd was a pick earlier too. So kind of all over the place. And then thanks to Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell getting ready to put on the boxing gloves and duking it out, who are two athletes that are non-boxers, MMA, or UFC fighters that you could not get paid enough to go into a ring against, or maybe even meet in an alley. There is no money on earth. You couldn't pay me $1 million to to try to go up against that person. Got picks all over the place. Derrick Henry. James Harrison was selected a couple times on there. But, yeah. So, coming up in just a couple minutes here, we'll chat up with the Eau Claire Express. See how we'll catch up on with, I believe it's Manager Dale Varsho that'll be popping in. So we'll catch up with him. And then after that, we will chat up with our Badger analyst, Mr. R.J. Cardinal. Talk a little bit about Johnny Davis, him going to Washington, and what he thinks about the pick, and a little bit more on the Badgers there too. So a busy 8:00 hour, but keep those picks coming. All right, you guys have had some good selections so far in our questions. Oh, and the other one I can't forget. What is your go-to meat when it comes to your backyard 4th of July grill out? Ribs are the leader right now, whether it's a griller or smoker. Which one? Which one are you rolling with? Okay, so text those babies on over. Potato salad won yesterday. Sorry for everybody who did not vote for potato salad, but nonetheless. All right, so shot clock's going to cut me off here. We'll kick off the third hour talking about talking with the first place Eau Claire Express, first place in the Great Plains East. 1 game up over Duluth, 2 games up over La Crosse. And then we'll chat all things Badgers with Mr. R.J. Cardinal. 2 in, 1 in the book. Oh, yeah, we got more texts coming in right now. A.J. Dillon's a good one. In an Indian leg wrestling match. I like that, Richie. That's a good one. All right, we'll be back in just a couple minutes. All right, final hour kicking off on what looks to be a little bit of a rainy start to your Tuesday morning. Just looked out the window there for the first time and probably since 4 o'clock this morning. It's a little wet out there, so good thing you got your hoodie on there, Coach.
I know.
Coach Varsho.
It is a little rainy out there.
Yeah. Well, it won't rain for tonight's game, though.
Let's hope not. Well, what's the forecast?
I have no idea. I think there's a chance, but, it'll part. It's Eau Claire. It always parts.
Always parts, especially at Carson Park.
Exactly. So, but it's time for our Eau Claire Express update here. And we've got, of course, you recognize the voice, Manager Dale Varsho, first place, Eau Claire Express in your division right now. So good stuff. First half's got to be getting close to the cutoff here, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we got like 7 games. It'll be tough because we got Wilmer in town right now, and then we go to St. Cloud, who's their leader on that division. So it's going to be tough last 7 games.
Yeah, you got Duluth, that's 1 game behind you. La Crosse, that's 2 games behind you too. So it's going to be a little race to the finish right here.
I mean, why wouldn't you want that? I mean, that's kind of what's exciting about the whole league.
All right, now I think I've been kind of following a little bit, but you did have a couple of Notre Dame players you were waiting on. Is that correct? Or
no, we don't. We had Stanford players.
Stanford, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, Stanford.
So they're all in now.
They're all in right now.
Hopefully, we're waiting for one more, but hopefully an arm, but haven't heard back.
Gotcha. Okay, so for the most part, you got your full team.
Yeah, full team
at this point now in the season. So we were kind of talking a little bit off the air, and I know I was talking with Sammy about it last week. The one thing that's really jumped out to me with this team, kind of watching them at the ballpark, they're kind of a goofy bunch. You got a couple players that are kind of some characters over there, having a lot of fun on the field. It seems like
we're hoping to have fun. I mean, that's kind of what it's about, and where the camaraderie is the one thing, that key component that you really have to have. So I enjoy them to have fun and encourage it.
We were going through some of the players. I mean, you had I just blanked that the stout kid. Was it Charlie?
Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie. Couple. I mean, dude's showing some power at the plate there, man.
Yeah, he pitched for us last night too. First time he's been on the mound. I think he threw 94, and he's a freak. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's got some really good potential that it has not even peaked yet. So
right.
I think there's a lot of good things that can come out of him.
Yeah, and I mean, was it the Conor McGregor home run trout grand slam that he had a couple weeks ago at Carson Park? I mean, that was
he's excitable. He's a fan favorite. He loves pumping up the crowd. I mean, he's really good.
Yeah. So, what else has kind of stood out to your team? And I mean, the last time we talked to you, you're getting ready for the season, and kind of waiting for the players to come in. It's been a whirlwind, I got to imagine, for you since that start. Not a whole lot of off days. I know you just had a couple the other day here, but really, is there an off day for you?
No, not really. I mean, I was at the ballpark already this morning at 7, trying to set up for this camp, and then the rain came. So there's, with the team coming here now, it gets a little easier of not having to get uniforms together and just trying to get them acclimated to what the signs are and do things with the host family and things like that. But when things all get rolling here, it gets a little easier. For players to understand what the routine is.
Right. Do you, at this point, when you look at other teams that you're kind of going up against, do you have kind of a good grasp of what the other teams, how well they are, or do you like kind of scout them a little bit, or is that just kind of like it's an evolving thing throughout this type of season because there's so much movement amongst players and teams?
I think you get a little feel of, seeing a player third or fourth game, how to pitch against them, how good he is. If we're going to need to walk him or pitch around him, there's things that you can kind of pick up right away. But overall, it's kind of there's so many players in everybody's team that sometimes you just don't get a whole lot of grasp of what the recruiting is,
right?
Scouting. So, but I think that's another thing that's the beauty of the league, of just having really good players even on the bench. So it's kind of nice.
I was talking to Sammy about this too, but I mean, you've been around since the beginning. And I just noticed it last week before she popped on, but sports betting is a huge thing. Would you have ever imagined that the Northwoods League would have like lines and all that sort? I mean,
I wouldn't have a clue. I don't even know how that works, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's like last year you got the Northwoods League was it the NFTs,
Right.
digital stuff and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
big time.
yeah.
I mean, it is growing like you wouldn't believe. I mean, the league, the owner of Dick Raditz is amazing. I mean, he just keeps on going forward and forward with more and more stuff.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. And then they got all the statistics about, offensive. I'm like, holy moly, they're like, I mean, but that's cool. I think for the younger players, we kind of talked about that last time. That probably draws them more
Well,
to a league like this.
you would think. I mean, it's kind of big time of betting and knowing that I have to put pitchers out there that are projected starters in the next 2 days advance. So they know who's starting every game, and it's exciting for everybody that wants to be part of it.
So is that something you've had to change up maybe in the last year or a couple of years?
It's been like that for quite a while, but now it's really, stuck in everybody like you have to do this because people want to know.
Right.
People need to see what's going on and how to bet on who and whatever. So I don't get involved with that. I just keep on doing my job. So
Right.
it's been pretty fun.
We actually have somebody just texted in. They were just kind of curious. Do scouts ever come to, like, Major League scouts come to these games?
Yeah, I see about one, probably two a week.
Okay.
But the nice thing about scouts is that they get all our TrackMan data.
Mm.
So at every game and in our broadcast, I don't know if you've seen our webcast, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's all HD cameras. It's big time. I mean, it's, again, ESPN2's carrying our games.
Yep.
There's times where Major League Baseball pays for our statistics, for our TrackMan analytics. So they don't really need to come to the ballpark anymore. They can see it on TV and plus get everything from TrackMan from Major League Baseball style. So
interesting.
So we see less of them, but they're all watching and getting better data.
Are they allowed to, like, talk to the players?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, they
Yep.
can do that.
Yep.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about Mr. York over there.
Oh, Joe. Joe is fun. Joe's probably the nicest, biggest person you ever want to meet.
Yeah.
He is a great teammate. He's fun. Can't run a lick. But he can really hit. I mean, he hit 350 in Cal Poly this last year. He's hitting over 300.
347 right now.
Leading
Pretty
my
good.
team right
Yeah.
now. And the man can hit. So it's fun to watch him swing the bat.
And he's kind of more of a base hitter, wouldn't you say, right?
Oh yeah, he's a spray hitter. I mean, he'll hit to all fields. He doesn't hit a whole lot of home runs, but he sure does have an idea of how to hit.
We got he doesn't know this because I haven't talked to him, but there was a couple of years ago, we had a listener kind of say, hey, there's this Spearfish Sasquatch team out there. And I'm like a big Bigfoot fan. We actually have a mini helmet over there. Well, then I found out Mr. York played for them a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So there's that. We got the Express and Sasquatch right there.
It kind of looks like a Sasquatch a
little bit. So
it's a perfect fit.
I know. I saw that. I'm like, okay, that might be my new favorite player.
No, he's a lot of people's favorite player. I mean, he'll joke around with it too. I mean, he's pretty cool about, being a big guy and not being able to run very fast. And the first day, he came and he had to run from first all the way to home. I made him go home and he made it, but he was chugging. And he goes, I don't know when's the last time I've ever done that. So
I've seen him standing next to Paulie over there when Paulie's coaching first, and not many people make Paulie look a little small with his height.
Right.
He does. Over there.
He's a big man.
I think those two need to, like, play a little one-on-one, back him down. I don't know if Paulie can,
I don't know if Paulie can handle that.
I don't think he can either. No. Sorry, Paulie, we're calling you out there a little bit, but
yeah, he's gonna get squashed.
But that's kind of like, that was another kid I'm at that age now where I'm calling these people kids.
I know.
But he just seems like he's a lot of fun to be around, and that's the one thing that really just stood out to me with this group.
With Joe too, is he's not afraid to help out anybody else too. I mean, if he sees some swings and stuff, he's not afraid to at least make some adjustments that way of helping somebody.
And that's that leadership quality that kind of really stands out to you.
For sure. I mean, he's just a really good person that just wants to help out everybody, just not himself. So that's kind of nice.
Exactly. So looking at the upcoming schedule here, you got a game tonight against Wilmer, then you're on the road against them too. So, I mean, 4 games in a row here?
Yeah, 4 games. The next, this game tonight and the next 4 games are really important for us, especially being on the road and having really good opponents. So we got to play our A game.
And then you'll be back home. It kind of looks at, I'm just kind of doing some math here with the schedule, potentially have a chance to clinch a first SAF championship at home at Carson, possibly pretty close there.
So it all depends. I mean, it's gonna be a rat race here of playing good baseball. Last night we left too many guys on base, and that's kind of our thing right now. And we just got to execute and have some timely hitting like every ball team.
Do you kind of monitor the other divisions, or do you just focus mostly on your division?
I just focus on our division and go from there. I don't know what's going on. I know Rapids is killing it over there.
Yeah.
But I know records. I don't know the players that are over there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was gonna say because Rapids, I mean, they're kind of like the Yankees right now. It seems like
Yeah.
with their record.
Yeah, I heard
over there.
they're a lot like St. Cloud. St. Cloud is just they don't make mistakes.
Mhm.
I think that the talent's there, but the talent isn't overbearing of their record.
Mhm.
It's just that they don't make mistakes.
Mhm.
I mean, that's how the basketball world works. Is that
Right.
if you don't make mistakes, you win a lot of games.
Right.
I remember
Exactly.
the Auburndale days back in the day where I'm from by Marshfield. Auburndale win every year because they just don't make
Mhm.
turnovers and don't make mistakes.
Right.
Same thing with baseball. You need to minimize.
Mhm. We have another texter asking, "Hey, coach, love going to the games. Have you heard anything more about? Is there a Hudson team coming to the Northwoods League
Supposed to be in next year.
next year?"
Been hearing that for the last 5 or 6 years, but hopefully they'll be in next year, and that'll be great for us because of travel.
Right.
But yeah, we're looking forward to it. I don't know if they broke ground yet, but
Mhm.
really looking forward to having that team.
So that would probably, I would imagine, switch up the divisions maybe a little bit.
We're hoping. It all depends if Thunder Bay comes back next year
Mhm.
and get across the border.
Right.
So it'll determine what's going on. I don't think we'll leave our side because I don't think we're the closest team that goes to the other side.
Right.
So, but there's more teams coming. There's no doubt about it.
So would you say that there's probably maybe, if you had to forecast it, get your euchre 8-ball out and kind of forecast it here a little bit, more teams like in 10 years potentially to the Northwoods League?
I would say there's going to be at least more teams in the next 2 years.
Oh, okay.
So I think we're at, I don't even know, 22, 24 right now.
Mhm.
I think there's 2 or 3 or 4 coming pretty
Right.
quick.
I know last year somebody asked this again too. Is Craig Counsell coming back to the ballpark? 'Cause I think he was.
Yeah,
Didn't
he
his son play
was
for Wilmer last
there.
year?
Yeah, his son played for Wilmer. Now he plays for Lakeshore, so I don't think he's coming this year. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be closer to home for his opportunity to see his son.
Because I think that was during the All-Star break he was up or something,
Right.
wasn't it, for Major League Baseball?
Yep.
Do you notice that he's in the stands or something like that with somebody's out there?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I knew he was there, but I didn't. I don't really take initiative because he's not there to see me. He's not there
Right.
to do anything. He's just there to see his son.
Right.
So we try to stay off of him and try to make sure that he enjoys the game.
Yeah, that's the way to go about it right there. So, so looking at the upcoming schedule here, we talked about the first half there and all that too, but because in years past you've kind of focused on the second half a little bit, right? Just because
have.
you've had players coming in a little bit later on.
Right.
Has that changed how you've managed this first half a little bit, knowing that it's a close race? And I think Sammy even mentioned that you mentioned this is one of the years that you've had a lot of your players right away to begin the season.
This is rare. I mean, usually we don't have 9 position players.
Mm-hmm.
We've had 9 from the get-go. So it's been a little bit better of understanding where we're at, but we're fighting for the first half and see what happens, and we'll be just as strong second half.
Does that, if you do win, I don't want to get too far ahead because I know you're focusing just one thing at a time, but does that change how you do things in the second half?
Not really.
No.
I mean, we're there to play good, consistent baseball that we need to start doing a lot better
Mhm.
right now. So things won't change much.
Would you say some teams kind of like, okay, they got it, and maybe they?
yeah.
Because there was one team last year, a couple years ago, it was like completely flip flopped.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of, we're already in the playoffs. We can kind of just coast, and
Mhm.
I'm not a big coaster, so I just want to play good baseball.
Right.
So day in and day out, we're there to not so much win, but play good baseball, being competitive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of, I just kind of talking to you the last couple of years. It seems like your number one goal is the kids and getting them ready and getting them that experience.
Right.
out there.
Exactly. We're not there to just, not just enjoy the game, but just not roll over. I mean, we need to play.
Mhm.
So these guys all need to get better at bats and be here for a reason.
Right. Exactly. So anybody listening right now, make sure you get your tickets and help these guys get that home field advantage over there. Make Carson Park a home field advantage over there. Get loud.
Absolutely.
Get loud and proud.
Exactly.
Even if you've got to, trash talk that first base coach to get him riled up a little bit,
especially that first base coach.
Yeah, because he gets a little animated.
Oh yeah,
after that.
he gets after it. There's no doubt about it.
Yep, exactly. I thought that was him texting me there at first. But you can get your tickets at the box office over there too.
Absolutely.
We're gonna make our sports talk night even special. It makes it better because it's Thirsty Thursday coming up in July too. So we're gonna load it up. We got you covered.
Absolutely.
We might get a little loud.
Oh, that's good. We need loud.
Do you want us behind your dugout or the opposer dugout and really annoy them?
All depends. If you're a big annoyer, that'd be the way to go.
Okay.
Be over there.
We'll send G-Man, our listener, over there. He likes to trash talk a lot. He trash talked Bronson Koenig over there last year.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, because he played for Regis back in like the 60s or 50s.
Oh, sure.
So he was, lacrosse and all
yeah.
that. But it was all good and fun. But hey, we got you covered.
All right.
We'll
Sounds
get you.
good.
Dale,
Appreciate it.
thanks for coming in, man.
You bet.
And really quick, you mentioned camp you had coming up today, or
Yeah, we had a PBR camp at Carson today, and I think it's getting changed over to the Valley Sports Complex, the new one on 53.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be inside now.
Gotcha. And then I wanted to ask you this too, but because again, not to name drop, but Sammy mentioned it. One change that you kind of did with BP was that you moved it to Momentum.
Yeah,
right?
Momentum's all BP with our team there. We
And
get
was
a lot
that
more out of it.
Was that something that your brother mentioned, or that
Yeah,
you said?
my brother Gary mentioned it, of just taking it easy this summer, not having the pitchers go shake balls. It just makes a lot more sense. Plus, we get a lot more hitting in.
Yeah.
And save Carson Park.
Right.
I mean, all the pounding on the field does not help. And
Mhm.
Carson Park baseball field right now looks really, really nice.
Mhm.
And I think that's a lot to do with it.
Right. So, and a little air conditioning over there too.
Exactly. It does help.
Yeah. G-Man already said yes, sir. So he's got you
There you
covered
go.
there. All right, Dale. Good seeing you, buddy.
Good to see you
We'll
too.
see you at the ballpark. Okay, bud.
All right. Take care.
You got it. All right, we'll take a quick break and we'll chat with RJ Cardinal from Madison, the Zone in Madison, recapping Johnny Davis and a couple other things going down in Madtown. Quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. approaching the bottom of the hour here. Big thanks to manager Dale Varsho for hopping on here for a little bit this morning. Hopefully the Express can continue their winning ways and get that first half championship. Reminder, our night, Sports Talk night, is going to be on July 28th. That is a Thirsty Thursday night, too. So, what do you think, G-Man? You think we should do a little like Carson Crazies or something? Get a big group and just get loud and give them a little bit of a home field advantage that night? What do you think, G-Man, huh? Think we can organize that? I think we can do something. Let's put our heads together and think about it. All right, let's catch up on some Badger chat with Mr. R.J. Cardinal from the Zone in Madison. What up, dude? How you doing this morning?
Oh, just living the dream.
Not a boy. Hey, Johnny Davis drafted 10th overall to the Wizards. How do you like that fit? I think it's great that it sounds like Bradley Beal is going to be coming back, because I think that's a big boost for Johnny Davis. So he's not, maybe asked to be the guy right away. But overall, how do you like the fit with Johnny Davis going over there?
Yeah, and we talked about it last week. The right before, when we were wondering why the one dude from CBS decided he was going to go number 20, but like everybody else either said 10 or 11. And everybody said the same thing. His game is a good fit for the Wizards and what they're trying to do move forward. So, yeah, absolutely having Bradley Beal come back is a thing for that franchise, and as well as Johnny Davis. And you have a consummate professional right there that is able to, help mentor, whether, that's depending on sport and position and all that, whoever you want to talk to. Certain players like doing that kind of stuff and certain players don't. So I guess maybe we'll find out this year if Bradley Beal likes doing that kind of stuff, if he does indeed stay with the Wizards that were now, Woj, I think I've seen say that. So he's the one who says it.
Right, exactly. So, all right, so that's in the books, and now the men's basketball team. I know they announced the Big Ten ACC Challenge with Wake Forest in that. So, now we move on from the Johnny Davis era, right? Is this the official? We just move on and look at this this team now in Jordan Davis, right?
Yeah, it's time to see what this team can do with very few proven guys, I guess we can say. You still have a couple of guys returning who what they're about, but is Jordan Davis going to be taking on a bigger role? What are some of these transfers that they picked up going to be doing, especially McGee out of Green Bay? Looking forward to see what he might be able to do with the Badgers. But it's more or less of the bigs in the freshmen who redshirted this past year. I know Moore's left, but Hodges is still there. See what he's capable of as a forward. And it's one of those, a lot of question marks going in, but still looking at the Big Ten as a whole, it's one of those, you still got to pick the Badgers to finish in the top half.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that, you can't see them going on some kind of historical bad season, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, it's time to move on and see what the new blood will do.
Switching over to football, I think this is a fantastic story, and it's written by our friend of the program, Colton Bartholomew at the Wisconsin State Journal. Ashley Cornwell. I'm sure you saw the article, you know about her, but she's a Wisconsin football student assistant coach. I know she will be participating or is participating in the Bill Walsh Coaching Fellowship with the Titans. This is a fantastic story, RJ. Do you have a little bit more to add what you know about her?
It's one of those, actually, up until the article, I really didn't know anything about her. So it was one of those, I was kind of liked the story as well, but it's one of those things as we're moving forward. You don't have to be a guy to know football.
Mm-hmm.
The women are just as apt in sports and all that. And well, she never played. Okay, you know what? There's a few head coaches in certain sports that actually never played past high school.
Yep.
It's some of that, but if somebody knows the game and is getting recognized by, getting invited to I think I read it was 32 spots at the Bill Walsh Diversity Coaching Fellowship.
Yep.
That's pretty amazing, and it's awesome to have that kind of recognition on the coaching staff here at Wisconsin.
Yeah, and her goal is to be a ball coach and all that. And it's just if you haven't checked it out, go check it out, Masson.com, Wisconsin State Journal. But it's like I didn't know anything about her. I didn't know she was on staff. She's a student assistant coach over there, but it's a fantastic piece, and it's awesome to see that at Wisconsin too.
Yeah, and it even goes into she played flag football with her brother, and it just got her involved in the game and began like helping coach while she was in high school, and not being like a manager, but helping out with high school team and learning the coaching aspect even in high school. So she's been a football junkie for a long time. So it's awesome that she's getting this opportunity, and hopefully, at some point in time down the road, she can make her goal.
Yeah, definitely. So again, check it out, Madison.com, if you want to know a little bit more about her too. So speaking of football, I know we're going to be approaching July. I know every kind of the last couple of weeks have been kind of asking you, okay, so what timeline, team wise, what are they going to be doing at this point in time and that sort of thing. Are the majority of players on campus right now, RJ, or are they at home, or is it about half and half? Like, are they able to stay on campus during the summer?
Yeah, like any people on current students, all that, if they have housing that they're in through what movement day is usually sometime in August, they'll be on campus. They probably go home for like a week and then come on back. And then before anything organized starts, they're allowed to, go work out and all that kind of. It's not like things close down to them, but I'm pretty sure I saw postings on social media that the scholarship freshmen at least are on campus, and then as they get more near August, that's when the preferred walk-ons will start getting in, and then you can start having your summer camp, and once school starts, then the whole team will be allowed to be able to practice and all that. So yeah, a little bit of a dead period here, in terms of like news, but it's just a matter of off-season workouts coming up, quarterbacks and receivers, and doing 7-on-7s against your linebackers and DBs. So it's more or less of non-coaching contact, and your best buds are the wait staff for a few weeks here.
Switching, we're kind of jumping all over around here with hockey. I know the men's team, they've been kind of picking up some additions, and is it Cruz Lucas? Is that how you pronounce his last name? Or Lucius? He's from Minnesota, but he's going over to Wisconsin. He spent the last 2 seasons with the USA National Hockey Team development program. And I know we've talked off and on about this men's team, and is this the year of like of a prove it year type with Tony Granato? But from what kind of you've been seeing and some of the new players kind of coming in, what should the expectations be for this Badger hockey team, this men's Badger hockey team this upcoming season?
It seems like they're getting the talent in, that they're getting like guys who were on the U.S. men's our developmental team and things like that. So it seems the right players are coming through the door. We just need to see it translate on the ice, and maybe see some more disciplined team out there. But I mean, I still think it's a prove it year. You can't have another year like you did. I mean, for the most part of the years he's been here, outside of the 1 year where you made it to the NCAAs and lost in the first round on a bad sheet of ice, and it happens. But I mean, that was pretty bad playing conditions, if you ask me. But yeah, it'll be. It needs to be at least a year where you're competing for a Big Ten title, and at least making an effort to make the NCAA tournament again. And if you fall flat and are in the bottom half of the Big Ten again, it's going to be pretty hard to, I think, keep the job.
Looking over, or just kind of going to college football, RJ Cardinal, our Badger analyst, joining us here this morning. I got to ask you, I know it's a few days old, but I mean, I got to ask you because everybody's proclaiming it. Texas football back, RJ?
Oh, they're always back. Come on. I mean, they get a win over a weak non-conference opponent and look dominating, and they're back. And then the following week, they lose to Iowa State. That's one of those things. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the quarterback room if in next season, not this coming one, but the 2023 season, if Arch Manning will be redshirted during Quinn Ewers' third year in college football, and if that's the case, you don't have to worry about somebody transferring. But yeah, we'll see what plays out there. I wonder. It's not like Arch Manning's family needed money, so I'll be interested to see, because he didn't really explain anything, just posted a picture,
right,
of why he chose Texas. I still don't. It's not a team that's a quarterback away from being great. And then with the expected move into the SEC, whether it happens in 2025 or whether it happens earlier, because I mean, the teams that are coming into the Big 12 to replace the Texas and Oklahoma are coming in 2023. So I'm guessing the Big 12 expects some kind of buyout to happen and the move to the SEC to happen earlier. And first Oklahoma had like their entire recruiting class leave, and then Texas, I don't think, at least right now, doesn't look like they'd be competitive in the SEC. So you're bringing in some big brands that have a real shot of not doing anything in the SEC. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there with those two programs as they move conferences. But yeah, it's a little puzzling to see Arch Manning picking, yeah, it's just odd.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing the NIL had something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that quarterback room. I think I saw something last week. Was it there's been like 3 quarterbacks ranked a perfect ranking score, and they've gone to Texas. Was it Vince Young, Quinn, and now Arch Manning? And now you got 2 of them in that same quarterback room, and Quinn already went to Ohio State, then went back to Texas because of the NIL thing with his high school. But I mean, can you remember another high school athlete? I mean, I keep going back to LeBron, but I mean, another high school athlete going to college that has been hyped up this much as Arch Manning, and I don't want to take anything away from him, but it does help to have a last name Manning, attached to it too.
I mean, you're looking at a third generation top level quarterback. I'm trying to think of anybody who even had in football, their son was, the one who was like, he's just as good as his dad,
Right.
And here you have, well, heck, even Peyton and Eli say had Cooper not had the neck injury, we'd be talking about him being a an NFL Hall of Famer wide receiver, you know? So, I mean, it's not like the family is lucking into things.
Right.
they're really talented. But still, it's one of those. I mean, I can't remember, you know, a line of father, son's grandson being like this good, you know, and it's just, hey, more props to the Manning family. Way to go, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're the first family of football right now. If I had to pick one, and
Oh yeah,
does it
they'll
help?
have to add on to that documentary, The Book of Manning.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, does it also help you think Arch? I mean, he's going to come in with a lot of hype and expectations and cameras and pressure and all that. But do you think it helps him a little bit that, like you mentioned, that's Cooper's kid? That's not Peyton's kid. That's not even Eli's kid. That's not a kid of Peyton Manning. It's the brother who didn't play professional sports.
Right, but you still look at the name of the position he plays.
Yep.
Who his uncles were, and who he's named after.
Right.
And I mean, heck, at Ole Miss, I mean, you still have people who tell stories of Archie Manning and, you know, the dual threat quarterback that he was. And it looks like Arch is more along those lines, because some of his clips you watch, I mean, he's got some pretty good feet on him too. So he looks like he'd be more like his grandfather than his two uncles, but still, yeah, it's one of those. I don't think anybody's gonna look at him and give him the benefit of the doubt and be like, well, you know what? Maybe we should pump the brakes and let him be Arch Manning, not a Manning legacy. I don't think that's going to happen. It's going to be, we expect greatness, and the minute we don't see it, we're going to come after you.
You know, it's just, you know, you mentioned the dual threat and the feet, and then, you know, we've seen Peyton and Eli play. It's like, okay, they must have got, you know, their feet from their mom or something like that. You know, because I mean, Peyton was a statue.
More
back
so
there.
Peyton, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Eli had the ability. It's just he didn't have the same ability as his dad.
Right.
I mean, heck, there's still 18 miles per hour is the speed limit, and in the athletics area at Ole Miss, I believe. So, I mean, that's how much they still love Archie.
Right. You know what's going to happen though, RJ. You know, when Arch is draft eligible, that's going to be when the Manning family buys a football team.
Yeah.
And then Arch is going to be the
they'll buy
quarterback.
whoever has the first pick.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all these rumors about Peyton being involved in ownership groups and all that, it's going to happen when Arch is available in the draft.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen.
Or whoever he gets drafted by, they'll look to buy into that team.
Right, exactly. That's we already got the conspiracy running out there. So, all right, dude. Hey, appreciate the time this morning, buddy. You have a fantastic week, okay, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. We will talk to you later.
You got it. There you go. There's RJ Cardinal talking all things Badgers in college. All right, we got to take our final break here this morning. Cover some bases. Last call for some predictions for the Brewers tonight. Brandon Woodruff on the mound. Going to pick a Brewers win. Going to pick a Brewers sweep in this quick 2-game set against Tampa. Let us know. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
You're listening to The Dan Kasper Show.
morning. Appreciate the shout out there, G-Man. Another great show today. Nice work. Appreciate it, buddy. You know what? I really think we might have to make something. Like Duke's got the Cameron Crazies. We might have to have like some Express Crazies or something like that. We might have to kick that off for Sports Talk Night, which is 1 month from today. 1 month from today. We have to think about something, have a little fun, and make that a real home field advantage over there. What do you think? Might have to think about that one for a little bit. I think we're on to something there. G-Man, you might have to make up some like some teas or something. Express Crazies or something like that. Okay. All right, let's cover some of the bases. Brewers tonight. Brandon Woodruff on the mound. 6:10. 6:10. So coverage will begin about 5:35 here this morning. 5:35 here this morning. Evening, excuse me. Spent a few minutes yet until we're done here. But be good to see Brandon Woodruff back on the mound for the Brew Crew, coming off of a couple of rehab starts there. Hopefully, no lingering effects. Hopefully, he's all good to go. And we get to see the Brandon Woodruff that we've come, accustomed to seeing over the last couple of years there. Being the number 2 guy in that rotation, being a stud up there. So excited to see him back with the ball club. And it sounds like maybe even Colton Wong could be activated. So getting a little bit healthier, even though Hunter Renfroe just went on the IL, but getting a couple players back here. By the way, you see the suspensions come down from that Mariners and incident. 12 received suspensions, including interim manager Phil Nevin for the Angels. 10 games. 10 games. Major League Baseball sending a message. But 12 members of the Mariners and the Angels following Sunday's bench clearing incident in Anaheim. Spilled into an on-field fight. They've got 3 Mariner suspensions: Jesse Winkler, J.P. Crawford, Julio Rodriguez. But, yeah. If you haven't seen the video, it's up there. You can go look at it in case you missed everything that's going on there. Other stuff on the docket. So we chatted a little green and gold. Obviously, everybody's going to be looking at the wide receivers now that we are under a month away from training camp. Everybody's going to be paying attention to the rookies. Everybody's going to be paying attention to Sammy Watkins. But for me, there's 3 other ones. If I take wide receivers off the board, there's 3 other questions, 3 other areas that I'll be looking at when training camp opens. 1, offensive line. It's so up in the air whether Elton Jenkins and David Bakhtiari. It's just question marks right now. It's just question marks right now. So if Elton and David Bakhtiari are not able to go, one, that really speaks a lot about David Bakhtiari, maybe his future. But then you've got a very young and inexperienced offensive line to begin the season. And I want to see how that depth shakes out. I want to see the positions. Is Elton Jenkins going to be a right tackle if he's cleared and ready to go? What's his position going to be? So that's number 1, offensive line. Number 2, tight ends. Tunyon, yes, with the ACL. But then, Tyler Davis is a guy we've been hearing a lot about in the offseason from Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur. Don't forget there's Josiah DeGuara on there too. I kind of forget Josiah DeGuara is still there. Mercedes Lewis is still there. But I want to see, is this Tyler Davis hype for real? I want to see that group kind of shake out. Packers didn't address tight end in the draft and that. And I know there's still some veterans available out there, but let's see if anybody runs away with this. And then the battle for the backup edge rushers, the outside linebackers. Who's going to run away with that 3 and 4 spot? So that's those are kind of my 3 questions over there. We threw out with the anniversary of Giannis getting drafted by the Bucks yesterday. Was Giannis the most impactful draft pick in Wisconsin sports history? You know what? I think I might put him at number one. And I think I put him at number one because I think you can make the case that maybe the Bucks would have been in serious danger of not being in Milwaukee anymore. The guy completely turned around a franchise. Now, obviously, with the new ownership group, they pumped in some resources. They pumped in some money to bring some talent to surround him with and that. But I think I might go with Giannis. You know, even if Rodgers wasn't there, Packers are still going to be there. Are they as good? Probably not. But can you make the case that maybe with Giannis getting drafted, that, or if he didn't get drafted by the Bucks, that maybe the Bucks would have been in more danger of being on the move? Possibly. But it's also a credit to Giannis for working his butt off. I mean, we knew that when he was first drafted, everybody's like, who? All right, it's a project. It's going to take a couple years. Let's see. That's a credit to Giannis for working his butt off, improving his game and getting better at it, and a credit to the ownership and front office for surrounding the guy with talent and for him wanting to stay. So I think I might go Giannis. I think I'm going to go Giannis. All right, you can continue the voting, too, for what meat are you putting on the grill or the smoker for your 4th of July backyard barbecue. It's our ultimate backyard barbecue voting competition. So far, the leader is ribs, but not by much. So you're going to go with chicken, you're going to go burgers, you're going to go brats, you're going to go dogs, what you got, okay? So you can text, tweet, Facebook your picks over there if you'd like to do that, okay? Send those babies on over. Tomorrow we'll tell you who the winner is, and then move on to the next one. Coming up tomorrow, we'll do some stock reports, whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. We'll do a little match game, hopefully recapping a win for the Brewers against Tampa Bay, but then previewing game 2 because it's going to be in the morning. Reminder, early morning game, 11:10 tomorrow morning. So by the time we shut off the dials, it's going to be just less than a couple hours, and then the pregame is already going to be on. So we'll chat some Brewers, taking a look at that. We'll be inching closer and closer to NBA free agency. Will we have any news on like Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis? Got to be getting there pretty close. I say Brook Lopez because would the Bucks actually try to move on from him? He is aging. Bucks also might be looking at extending some players, including maybe a Brook Lopez to lower that salary number, or even a Chris Middleton. We'll see. All right. There you go. There's the shot clock. DP and the Danettes, they're up next. Have yourself a fantastic Tuesday. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Just a little bit past 6 a.m. We'll chat with you all then.